All right. It is 49 degrees. There are no openings scheduled for the Coleman. One of our new sponsors on the morning show is Doc Wilcox from Wilcox Eye Care. And I know for a fact from Tammy and her son some of the stuff that he does. And I stopped down there the other day to talk to him to get some lead in, and I had no idea what I was getting into when I walked down there. But so that's why I've asked him to come in a number of times, because it goes from so many different directions, and we want to talk. He's handing me material like crazy. So first thing I wanted to talk about, because it touches home. Good morning, by the way.
Good morning, Neil. Good morning, everybody.
Is a couple of years ago, Grady's 21 now, I think. But he was a teenager, and if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly going back, his eyes were getting a little worse.
More nearsighted.
Okay. And you started him on a program of something that he did at night only?
Well, so what's going on is, and it ties into this theme of what we'll be talking about these next few days, is I'm a root cause person. And the reason you become more nearsighted, a patient becomes more nearsighted, is their eye gets longer front to back. It stretches.
Okay.
And a analogy I'll use with parents and patients is, if your child woke up and their left arm was 2 foot longer than the right arm, they'd be running to the doctor saying, "What's going on with my child?" Well,
calling a basketball coach.
And and so. For the layup. But the fact is, you're becoming more nearsighted because a bad thing is going on. Your eye is stretching.
Okay.
And when the classical answer is to just give stronger glasses to somebody, but that doesn't stop the process. And the reason you become more nearsighted,
that just helps you see.
What happens is it refocuses the camera that's now unfocused because the camera's too long.
Okay, got it.
And so you start changing the front lens in the camera, the glasses, the contacts, but it doesn't change the fact that the camera is getting longer front to back. And then you keep chasing this. Well, if you use these lenses at nighttime, you put these lenses in your eyes at night before you go to bed, it changes the camera lens and the way light focuses in the back of the camera or the eyeball, and it stops the camera from getting longer. So you freeze that eye.
Oh, okay.
And plus, you also see great all day long. So I have to repeat this over and over to people when they're sitting in front of me.
Now, how long will he have to do that?
So at night, you put a lens in your eye.
Right.
In the morning, you take it out. And with nothing in your eyes, you see great all day long, swimming, running, playing baseball, whatever it is, and you don't get worse. So you see 20/20 all day long because either at night you have the lens in your eye and you can see with it in your eye, or you take it out. But it stops you from getting worse. So 5 years from now, instead of your eye being much longer and you being fundamentally more nearsighted, you're frozen in time there.
Do all eye doctors know about this?
They most probably. I can't speak for them, but a lot do, but they don't practice it because it's not easy to do. And so I don't like the thought that sometimes we're poor referrers to other people who can do something, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I've been doing it for I've been doing it for, well, it's you like
I know.
Okay, I'll stop. But you should always send people to the smartest, best app person in the area.
Okay, do you put this thing in like at 6 o'clock?
Well, no,
when you go to sleep.
Right at bed.
Right at bedtime.
At bed, and you've got to get your 4 to 6 hours. And so it's not for the firefighter because they got to get up and go.
So, but how does it work? Because your eye is closed at night.
Well, that's the whole point. It molds the cornea. So people are familiar with the surgery LASIK.
Yeah,
and
you're
using a laser to sculpt the cornea. Well, you're just using the impression from this lens that's specially designed in the back surface that touches the eye, and you end up with a molded cornea.
Do you make this lens in your office?
I design them on a computer. I have a CAD/CAM system where I manipulate the cornea, the shape with an instrument we have called a topographer, and I design a lens for it.
Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Is it if I wake up during the night to go to the bathroom,
you're perfectly fine. You can walk around with these in your eye during the day.
So I can see. It's not like it's
right.
non-seeable lens,
Correct.
if that's even a word. All right, which I found was amazing. And when Tammy and Grady started coming to you years ago about
15, 12, long time.
But when she came and told us about it, I'm going, are you sure this is legit? But it just sounds so unbelievable that something so simple, which really isn't simple, could fix your eyesight all day long. Now, it does not cure you.
Correct. You're still fundamentally so.
And you've got to continue wearing these all your life.
No. You continue until you want to quit.
Okay.
Okay. So the thing is, in the younger eye, that's the eye that is stretchable. And the older you get, the more rigid the eye gets, and you no longer typically have progressive nearsightedness. So let's say up through puberty, your eyes can get longer, and then after that, you get what you get for your prescription for the rest of your life.
Okay.
So if you were destined to be -6, 2,600 or so, but we catch you at 2,100 because you're -1, we can keep you at this -1, which you don't experience -1 because you're 20/20 all day long.
That's
but
unbelievable.
we sequester that eye, and now when you're 22 and you quit, you remain at that -1 length of an eyeball, and you're no longer stretched. And yes.
But again, this is for nearsightedness.
Which
means
we
you
can
can't
do
see
farsightedness.
far.
We can do farsightedness.
Oh, you can?
Yeah. So our number one population of patients are the kids who are nearsighted, and we do adults. And the second population after that are going to be the 50-year-old moms who are sick of wearing reading glasses. And it tends to be a female at that age who's the vanity or whatever it is, and the inconvenience of ripping reading glasses out of the purse.
Somebody that constantly loses glasses.
Yeah. And so that same person, instead of making the cornea flatter, we make it steeper. We got to pooch the cornea with a lens. And so there's a different design dynamics. And
that may be the first time on this program ever that you have actually heard a doctor use the word pooch.
Pooch.
I just want to point that out, folks. All the interviews we've done over the years, doctors nationally, all these clinics we interview people, first time the word pooch has ever been said. Now, I want to go to, and that is amazing. And if you want more information on that, if you have a child that is nearsighted, and especially athletics is a prime
swimmers,
example of this.
Baseball, softball.
Just stop in and see Dr. Wilcox. Just by going in and getting information on it does not mean you're committed to it.
They can go to my website, wilcoxeye.com, and I have videos and testimonials under orthokeratology or corneal molding.
Stop in and see Dr. Wilcox, because I'll never remember orthokeratology. But different from what I hear from a lot of folks. You go to the eye doctor. I went to the eye doctor recently because I had LASIK, probably 18 years ago, something like that. And I've noticed my eyes have been getting progressively weaker. I did it back in the old day. I guess the laser cut the eye, and it was kind of funny because not long out, about a week after I had the LASIK, when my vision was totally back, I was umpiring a baseball game, big time game, and there was a play at second base. And I delayed my call because in my mind I'm thinking, wow, I could see that. So you know what I was doing umpiring prior to that. But you look at everything a person is doing. Sure, I can come in and just get glasses from you. But why is your vision getting the way it is? And a lot of times it's not just the eye that's doing that.
Most people are familiar with going to the optometrist for the routine glasses and contact lenses. I've been, my whole life has been spent on going to the root cause. Why are things the way they are? That's why the corneal molding. If I'm sitting here and a kid is in front of me in the chair and they're getting worse, I'm going, well, I'm not doing a good job because they're under my watch and they're getting worse.
Yeah.
And so if you went to the cardiologist and your heart disease was getting worse, you go, what's going on here, dude? And the same thing with the oncologist. You want them to stop or reverse the problem. So with macular degeneration, horrible blinding eye disease.
Okay.
15 years ago or so, I had a patient of mine come in and went through the cascade of events that she got worse. And then another one a month or two later, it wasn't poor care. It's just it was a standard of care. And a hemorrhage happened. And then they're off to go get needles in their eyes, which is the current treatment of managing a retina that has a hemorrhage. So 15 years ago, I said, okay, I got to do something better. And I ended up down in Texas learning from an ophthalmologist who uses forms of energy. You have a book over there called Healing is Voltage. And so our bodies want to be well. We get in the way of our bodies being well. And now, some things are not our fault, but largely in this toxic world we're in, there's a quicker and quicker turning point toward worse because of nutrition and other factors that go on. And so I have been for a long time giving people options. Your options are do it this way, that way, or a different way. And this way might be for macular degeneration, taking some nutraceuticals that have limited value, maybe waiting and watching it get worse.
What is that? First of all, what is a nutraceutical?
Supplements. There's great value.
Okay.
There's great value in taking your B vitamins and your antioxidants and things like that, especially when we're not getting them when we run by the Quick Mart to get our breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so if you introduce things to the body that are light, magnetic fields, oxygen, the fundamental stuff of life, and you can do it a number of different ways, you can stimulate that body to be well. Look at the coronavirus. The coronavirus is largely killing and making old, sick people die. If you look at it.
So it's affecting mostly older adults.
So the older body doesn't manage oxygen as well. So if you have a young person and they can hold their breath and swim one length of the pool, you get an older person and they're going to push off the wall and that's all they can do.
Now, I used to be able to do, we had a pool in the backyard. I used to be able to do 4 lanes.
Okay.
I doubt
and
I
you
could
can't do it now.
Yeah.
So it's about oxygen utilization. So back to the coronavirus, germane to this conversation, if your immune system is poor, you can't fight things off. And so one thing we do in addition to the magnetic fields and the light, different in the electromagnetic spectrum, the Roy G. Biv, red, orange, blue, green, indigo, violet.
I was reading a book about that.
Light. There's certain sweet spots in light that the body likes and goes, I'm going to use this to make things better. Blue light is bad, largely, not always, but certain red wavelengths are good. And the body goes, good, I'm going to use this to improve my immune system. And so you see these far-red saunas and whatnot. So if you expose the body, the eye, or the greater body, the head, it's going to respond.
Okay.
And, yes, sir.
Along this line, because you've kind of lost me partway through that.
It's hard for me to focus.
You may have lost, But you also do something that I don't think many people do following an eye exam. And that is you follow up with primary care physicians and everything else. That goes all along in this whole slew of the whole body affects, what happens in your stomach may be affecting your eyes. What happens in your mouth could be affecting your heart.
Without a doubt. And so I have a...
You like the way I drew that parallel?
You did a good job.
Thank you.
And I have a banner out in the office, and it talks about circulation, inflammation, minerals, and voltage. And the other saying is you got to fix the gut to fix the brain to fix the body to fix the eye. And so the eye is part of the brain. It's part of what's called the diencephalon. And it's 30 to 40% of the brain is allocated for vision. And if you... Yes.
Really?
Yes. If you were to take the vision part of the brain out, think of an apple. You look at an apple, and you look at it with your eyeballs, the receptors, and it goes all the way to the back of the head to the visual cortex. That's the primary visual cortex. And you go, okay, there's this apple thing. But then you got to go to your prefrontal cortex and your frontal lobe and go, oh, that's an apple. I know it starts with an A, and you got to spell it out. Then if you can sit there, you can taste it in your mouth, even though you're just looking at it. My
grandson always can't understand how I can't remember things. Now I have a reason to give him. 40% of my brain is so I can see.
30. Well, there's a saying I have. It's 30 to 40. So it's 30 to 40% of the brain, with about as much. There's about 50 connections within the brain, and these primary, secondary, and tertiary tracks. I just spoke this past weekend at William & Mary at a 2E conference, which is the autism spectrum disorder. 2E is twice exceptional. So these bright kids who are challenged with things.
Yeah.
And there was a first ever international meeting, people from Russia and France and this and that. And I'm one of the speakers.
No way.
Yeah, way. And so because eyes are so important, and the problem with the autistic child tends to be the wiring between the primary, secondary, and tertiary cortices.
Okay, I'm going to stop you because you're going in.
I know.
I gotta focus you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
bottom line.
Yes, sir.
Bottom line, simple form.
Yep.
Treating the eye oftentimes is more than just looking in the eye.
All the time it is. Whether you have somebody who looks at it that way, do you want a full meal? Do you want the appetizer and the dessert and the coffee, or just the entree?
Want glasses?
Okay, yeah. Right.
So when I come to you, and it's like when I came in the other day, you're probably going to be asking me questions that I haven't been asked before when I've gone for an eye exam. And I'm looking at you like, what are you, nuts? You're looking at my... And but it all goes back, and it's the main reason why you communicate with any other doctors because your nurse asked me, and your primary care physician is, and I gave her the information, and I gave her the,
I write summaries all day long, and I'm flipping out an email or picking up a phone, and my phone's out, talking to this one or that one as I can. And there's some people have access to immediately, and others.
Our primary care physicians kind of, have you ever run into a situation where they're going, you're an eye doctor, why are you calling me?
I've cured most of them of that. and so, people are busy. And then we got these firewalls of this HIPAA stuff and all this, these barriers to communication. But I fight through those things because my interest is to optimize your ocular health at every age and disease state.
Okay. Next week, you're going to come back in. Let's focus on one area. What are we going to talk about?
Well, we have these neural lenses, and people preparing for next week, people can go to neurolenses.com, NEURO.
Do you have a link on your website?
Yes, I do.
Then go to Wilcox Eye.
WilcoxEye.com. That's WILCOXEYE, because I'm an eye doctor.com.
And then
you can go look and call. And I love what I do.
And that was the new machine that they had me look in that had like planets in it and stuff.
Yeah, that allows us.
Okay, don't. No.
Yes, I'm sorry. Okay, yes.
He gets so excited over everything that I got to kind of have a lasso here, and it's almost like a choke collar on a dog that's running too fast. I got to pull on it every once in a while. So we're going to see you next week. But if you have a child that's nearsighted or farsighted and is sports oriented, or any adult or anybody that just wants to be able to not worry about glasses during the day, stop in at Wilcox Eye Care, because he has the things that you put in your eye that you sleep at night. Simple form, and then understand that when you go to him, it's going to be more than just talking about your eyes. And I think that's the bottom line for today. Trying to keep you on the planet.
Yeah.
No, seriously. But the fact, how did they find you to get you to speak at this conference with all these experts from around the world?
Because I'm part of a group of doctors, a bunch of different healthcare providers called IMEG, Integrative Medical Arts Group. And we're similarly minded. And one of them was asked to speak, and she was busy. And so I, and actually a pharmacist T.W. Taylor from Williamsburg Drug, we shared the stage and spoke. He did it from his pharmaceutical side, and I did it from the eye side.
Okay.
And it was a phenomenal conference.
How many people were there?
Hundreds.
Wow. From all over the world.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's 7:24. Good morning.